I'm George Cordes, Artistic Director of the Adirondack Lakes Center for the Arts in beautiful Blue Mountain Lake, New York, in the heart of the Adirondacks. I'd like to welcome you to the latest live stream event in our ALCA-Seltzer series, Relief from the Headaches of Social Distancing. During its 53-year history, the Arts Center's mission has always been to promote and celebrate the arts and arts-related experiences, not only in our beloved historic building, but throughout our region. When the COVID-19 pandemic struck, we began this online series so that we could continue to connect with our audiences, both near and far, despite the fact that for everyone's safety, we are temporarily unable to gather here in person. Our virtual series this summer includes music, workshops, the visual arts, and even elements of our Adirondack Lake Summer Theater Festival, a wide range of activities that reflects what the Arts Center has offered and will offer again once the danger of COVID-19 has passed. Thanks to all of the talented folks who have been and will be part of our series, and to you, our supporters, though we currently come into your homes through your smartphones, laptops, and other devices, we look forward to when we can all meet again in person. This evening's ALCA-Seltzer stream features the incredible concert pianist Nicole Wang. Nicole has graciously agreed to entertain Arts Center audiences with a concert of pieces by Chopin, Mozart, Debussy, and other composers, filmed at the Arts Center and played on our Steinway piano. I also spoke with Nicole about her career, which began as a child prodigy in China, her training, her experiences during the current pandemic, and of course, life with her rescue robin, Ali, who accompanies her in this concert. And now, without further ado, pianist Nicole Wang.
So, hello everyone, this is Nicole Wang, and during the outbreaks, I'm staying at the Adirondacks, New York, the Blue Mountains. So the weather is very different here, and even though it's June here, today it's quite cold. And I'm gonna play a whole concert for you. And so I just want to give you a little updates about myself here. Exactly a year ago, I found this baby robin, and he was kind of injured, and I rescued him, and he's right here with me. If we can, he's under the piano. He loves the piano. This little bird, he's very musical, and later on in the concert you're gonna witness that when I'm playing the piano, he's gonna be up on the piano, either listening or singing along, and this is really gonna be great. Right, Ali? And his name's Ali. I named him Ali. He's the sweetest little robin, and in the beginning, I thought I was going to release him after a couple weeks, but I tried to release him a few times. He never wanted to go, and he's very much bonded with me. So he's like my, he's my pet, my little child now. So I'm never gonna let him go either, right, baby? I'm just gonna take care of him. So he's gonna be here for the whole concert. He goes with me everywhere. I've played different concerts. He always travels with me to my concerts, and I'm so glad that we got a chance here to do a recording, and he can be at the piano, and he has the freedom to go wherever he wants and to be wherever he wants. Right now he's just resting on the bottom of the piano, but he's gonna come up. So I am so excited that I can do this through the video, and I'm so excited you can see me and Ali here. I hope you'll enjoy the concert. We have a wonderful program today. So the first piece I'm going to do is Mozart. It's a Mozart sonata. Very uplifting, very therapeutic for me. Every time I feel sick, I always play Mozart, and it always makes me feel good. So that's Mozart in C major sonata. the camera. Look at the camera. There we go. He's my rescued robin. And he just turned 1 year old, right? He's exactly 1 year old. You're a big birdie now. And he's the sweetest bird I've ever known, right, baby? And he loves music. Look at him. He loves the piano. And when I play, you'll see. Sometimes he comes to the piano and starts singing, or he'll just sit there and listen to me play, right? Okay, so this next piece I'm gonna play, it's the Chopin Waltz in, let me see, what key is that in C sharp minor, and the second waltz is in E minor, and those two waltzes are very different. The second one is very brilliant, with more dramatic. The first one is very, very, very melodic and very poetic. We're gonna go. I'm gonna play. Go up there. He's like, my territory is protecting the territory. Come on. There. You want to stay right here? That's a good place. mommy. He's so happy. He's so happy. I think I get more excited feeding him than him. Look at that. He was hand fed when he was a baby when I first found him. I had to feed him every 20 minutes. Right, baby? That's why you think I'm mommy. Okay, one more. One more. Good baby. Good baby. Mwah. Good baby.
Listening to all that music makes him hungry.
I think so, right? Like he feels like he got a little workout. There's also a charity etude, and that helped me to warm up. Actually, right now it's very cold here in the Adirondacks. The temperature just dropped like to 40s and 50s. So that's why I'm still in my winter boots, and we have the heat on here, but it's been very cold. So the charity is very virtuosic, and it's very exciting to listen to and to play. And then we have, in the program, I'm also going to do a Chopin Fantasy Impromptu, which is one of the most famous pieces by Chopin. And it was really, really popular. And like the movies would use it and commercials use it. So for a very long time, I didn't like that piece. I didn't learn it until I was, like in my recent years, and I realized it really is a great piece of work. And I have kind of worked it into my own piece that I do something different than what's written in the second section, where it's the melodic, beautiful section. I added a little ornaments of my own, but it's in the style of Chopin. You won't even notice it. It'll just sound really beautiful. It's very personal. One time I played this piece for a friend of mine who's also a concert pianist, and he didn't even know that I wrote that part. He said to me he thought I had a different music because Chopin wrote different versions of his music, and every time when he plays, he would play differently. And he thought maybe Chopin wrote a different version. I was playing another version. I was like, wow, that's a really great compliment, because it was still in the same style of Chopin. And nobody else, you would never hear this played this way by anybody else. That's my version of the Fantasy Impromptu. Okay?
You're a star.
You're gonna be famous.
We're gonna make you a star.
Right. You're gonna be famous.
You're gonna be a-
now he's leaving.
Uh-oh.
Now he's leaving.
Oh,
Want to play? Look.
oh, look at
This
that.
is a trick.
That's-
Play? Yeah, you want to play? Show George your trick. Is this on camera?
Yes.
Awesome. Show George your trick. He wants to perform.
Very good. Yeah.
He wants to do his little
That is-
performance.
You have been watching a special live stream brought to you by the Adirondack Lakes Center for the Arts. I'm George Cordes, Artistic Director of the Arts Center, and if you'd like to see both our virtual and eventually live programming continue, please consider making a donation. Go to our website, adirondackarts.org, and press the Donate button. While you're there, be sure to check out everything else we have going on this summer, including our ALCA-Seltzer shorts, ALCA-Seltzer workshops, and our first virtual gallery exhibit featuring the fantastical artwork of Sarah Price. We spoke with pianist Nicole Wang in Blue Mountain Lake. We're speaking with concert pianist Nicole Wang from Connecticut, who has been spending time with us up here in Blue Mountain Lake since the beginning of the coronavirus
April, yeah.
epidemic. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So if you would, just tell us a little bit about where you're from originally and where you grew up and hometown.
Right. I was born in China, and
Okay.
I was born in the city of Chengdu. Have you ever heard of it? That's where the spicy food is.
Oh, yes.
They really have the best food. I only sing, you know. You hear
Yeah,
it?
I hear him, yeah.
And then I was there until I was 12 years old. But I traveled, to Beijing because part of my family is in Beijing, like my grandparents. So we're back and forth a lot. And then we came over here. The first place we stayed was in Seattle because that's where we had some relatives over there. So during my middle school and high school years, I was in Seattle. Then I came to New York for like the pre-college because I got into all the schools in the East Coast, like Juilliard, Manhattan, Manus, and then two other schools like Eastman, New England. I forgot the two other, like in Boston, I think was Eastman or Peabody, like all five schools. So anyway, so I came over to New York to during my last year of high school to go to one of the pre-colleges there.
So while you were still in China, when did you start studying piano and you did some competitions?
Yeah, I
Tell
was
us a little bit
4 and a
about
half when I first started piano.
Okay.
And I liked it in the beginning. Like I really wanted it, so I told my parents I wanted the piano. I just love music. I like all kinds of things that to do with music, and piano really drew me in. And so anyway, so we got a piano when I was 4 and a half, and found a teacher and started taking lessons.
And when was there a point at which your teachers said you need to start preparing for competitions, that you had an extraordinary talent?
I think ever since the beginning, because I have perfect pitch. Like the first teacher realized that, like right after she taught me like some basic notes, how to read. And then she one day, I don't know how, she like was testing my ears, and that was like the first 2 weeks with studying piano. And she was so excited to tell my mom that I could name every single note on the piano when she was playing, and she put me like, back towards the piano, like back away from the piano. So then she just says, this is very rare for someone to have perfect pitch, and then she just couldn't, like I wouldn't make one mistake. She'll do like 2 notes, 3 notes, 5 notes at a time. I could hear all of it. Back then my ears better than what I have right now,
really?
for some reason.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And then finally she got really upset. She not upset, like she was trying to challenge me. So she smashed the piano with both of her hands on the very bass, and I named every note.
All of the notes.
Yes, I named every note. I remember that.
Wow.
And to me it was just like I just knew it. Like it wasn't difficult.
Right.
But I think that it changes when you grow up. I mean, I still have it, but not as sharp as I used to be. If I practice myself, I can keep it. It just I didn't practice. I'm still very good because I give online lessons sometimes with a student, and I can spot everything and they'll tell me, they're like, you're not here. How do you know? I'm like I can hear everything you play. So
Right.
I did a few competitions when I was in China, and they were like national competitions. So I won pretty much every one of them. But I was young too, because when you're young, it's different too, right? Like, and then as you get older, I came over here. I was already in the United States. So I did.
When did you
make the decision to come to the United States?
My mother made the decision.
Oh, I see.
I didn't
Okay.
know anything.
Okay.
The adults, like she always wanted to come to America, the American dream, and
Okay.
you know, tired of the the government system there. So I don't know if I should talk about that.
Well, no, that's
Yeah.
part of your life story. So,
Right. So she decided to come here, and so she got all of us to go. And we always have relatives abroad, like in Canada, and
Mm.
my mother's side, she had, my grandparents' side, they always had relatives this way. And my grandpa, I have to say that the one on my mother's side, he was a doctor, but he spoke perfect English because he grew up in American schools back in China. That was before, I guess that before World War II, I would say.
Okay.
I
Your
would,
grandfather, probably.
Right, I would think, because then the war, and then
Right.
the China become, like, it was closed off, you know. But that was before that. So he went to all American school, so he spoke perfect English, and he traveled to America many times,
okay.
or abroad
So you came first to Seattle?
to Seattle.
And
Yeah,
how long were you there?
I was there for quite a few years, 4 or 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And so
middle school and high school. Yeah.
you were learning to speak English.
The first year, yeah, definitely. The first year was ESL.
Yeah.
During my last year of high school, actually, yeah, pretty much, no, the second, like junior year high school, because my teacher over there, Balashiki, he was a concert pianist in Seattle, from Hungary, and he studied with all the legendary pianists like Bartok, Dakanani, like
Okay.
these legendary
Right.
pianists, and Lupati. These are like really golden age pianists. So anyway, so he suggested that, you know, if I wanted to go to college, I should probably go to one of the schools in the East Coast. It'll be better for my musical education.
Oh, okay.
So then I came over here to audition and got in, and pretty much, yeah, I was accepted to every school. So then my teacher was like, you know, pick a school that you like, you know.
Right.
I didn't know, but I went for a teacher that I liked at the time. Like I kind of like interviewed different teachers, and I wanted to learn. Like my goal is to learn as much as I can, and you know, like as much knowledge and as much technique on piano as I could. So I found a teacher that I felt like I could learn most from. So I went to Manhattan School of Music eventually.
Okay. And your teacher there
Was
was.
Philip K1.
Okay.
He's pretty famous now. Like
Okay.
yeah. Back then, he was young. Now he's like really famous. Like his class is so full. He has no break. I feel sorry for him. He has no break. Like everybody from all over the world, they want to come and study with him now.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, like
Okay.
I went to Temple University to do my graduate
Temple.
study.
Oh, okay.
Temple University, and so it was very interesting. I met the teacher, a professor who was a pupil of Horowitz, and Horowitz only had 5 pupils, like 5 serious pupils.
Wow.
So he was one of them. His name's Alexander Fiorillo, and he was a great concert pianist. He was just like, when I hear him play, it's like it really draws tears from you. It's like such feelings and beautiful tone. So I always heard stories from him about, you know, like experiences with Horowitz. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Did you feel like you wanted to go into as a full-time performer?
Oh yeah, I mean that's what I wanted to do
Right.
at first, but it's very difficult in this age of time because we're in a different generation now.
Right.
And also even my teacher back then, Alexander Fiorillo, he'll say, you know, I wish you were born 50 years earlier. I could have helped you. I had all those agents and connection, but now everybody's dead. He said that. So you know, so I was doing, and I remember I did you know talk with him about, you know, like the direction. He says, you know, just do what you do, perform and teach. So then you know you don't have to be constantly stressed out with performing because it's very stressing, and you do perform and teach, and then you just balance it out, and then you can also have a balanced life. So that's what I've been doing since.
Okay. And so did you stay in Philadelphia to begin
For
with?
a while, I
Yeah.
stayed there for a while, then moved to Connecticut because my parents are in Connecticut. They wanted me to move closer to them.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. So where in Connecticut?
Stamford, Connecticut.
Stanford.
Yeah.
Right. And so you've continued to perform.
Right.
What have been some of your, would you say, more memorable performances?
Okay, so one of my favorite concerts was the Hershey Symphony Orchestra in Pennsylvania. This was after winning the competition, the concerto competition, to get to play with the orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
So I played, for the competition, I played Rachmaninoff's third piano concerto. But after I won it, the conductor said to me, you know, we're not going to play this because this is one of the most difficult concerto for orchestra to play, and also for pianists. She said to me, anything in the world, just pick any other piece we're going to perform the following season, but just not the third. You can do Rachmaninoff first, second, and Beethoven like anything. So I picked Beethoven Fifth Emperor concerto, and that was a great piece too. So yeah, I love that concert because it was a beautiful theater. It was so beautiful, it was so big, and it was sold out that day. And I remember before I got on the stage, someone was managing the stage, came back to tell me and the conductor, like we're just in the backstage. He was like, "Oh, you know what? It was all sold out. Like I forget how many seats, like thousands and thousands." And he named the number 1,000. And I'm like, "Why are you telling me this?" I'm like, "Oh, it's making me more nervous." You know what I mean? Because I just wish that nobody's there.
That's right. Almost prefer that not to know who's out there.
Exactly. It was funny, like because he was so excited. He come and tell the conductor, "Guess what? It's sold out. Like everything's like thousands of tickets." So I'm like, "Oh my God!" It's like, and I remember hearing my heart pounding, you know. But then as soon as I got on the stage, because the spotlight's on stage, you really can't see anything in the audience. So they you know.
That's right.
So then I couldn't see anyone. So then, and as soon as I got on stage and felt comfortable, so I forgot all about it. and it was a really good concert. I got a standing ovation.
Wow.
And after that, they gave me. So when I came out to for take more bows, and the conductor came back up, brought me a big Hershey bar. It was 5 pounds, a big like heavy Hershey. I'm like I was
Pennsylvania.
Hershey bar, yeah, because they have the Hershey chocolate factory there.
Right.
So it was funny because it was totally unexpected. And I was like, oh my gosh! They're like, this is your award.
I see. Well, I hope they also paid you a fee.
Oh yeah, they
okay.
did. This was an extra. It was
Not
something
just a candy
surprising.
bar.
Exactly.
Okay.
It was funny.
Okay.
It was really funny. It was so good because it was
Yeah.
so fresh, you know.
Okay, so after you moved to Connecticut, what have been your activities there?
I was teaching, you know, I started teaching more, like, you know, more stable teaching, and then I did a lot of local concerts for a lot of nice senior homes, and because they can't go out to concerts, if they have nice pianos there, I'll go there, and you know, and one place, Edge Hills, it's like a really nice place, and they would hire me every month, like, and I know I know all the audience there because I made friends with them over the years, so they'll always look forward for me to go back there. Especially right now, they're so upset because it's a shutdown. They can't see me in person, and they'll often like wrote to me on email. They're like they can't wait for when it gets back to normal, but they can see me on Zoom concert now. And I did church works. I actually did quite a few church works. Like I believe it or not, I'm no professional singer, but I sang for the church a few times, and played the piano and organ for them. So like church services, that kind of thing.
Okay, and so speaking of Zoom concerts, how have your activities changed since you're continuing to teach?
Right. Well, the teaching hasn't been that much. It's just here and there. Not everybody is signing in right now. Like, so I pretty much lost a big part of my teaching job right now. So eventually they might come back. So I'm not, I'm being positive.
Right.
But Zoom concerts, yeah. Like, so with Edge Hill, they're hiring me, a couple of times a month right now. And I'm also, getting some recordings out to other places that are interested, and I'm still trying to make some more contacts. I'm sure Zoom concert, it works for our situation right now because there's no public
Right.
gathering and stuff. So it works, but I'm sure the sound quality is not going to be as good as live.
Yeah.
Because if you're a good artist, you always sound much better
Right.
live than recording. And if you're not so good artist, you sound better recording than
Yep.
live.
Yep.
That's what I've been told. And in the program, I have also this WC piece, the Arabesque. WC is a French composer of the Impressionism era, and this piece is beautiful. It's just. Oh, by the way, I moved to during the outbreaks. I moved to the Adirondacks, the Blue Mountains, which it's very beautiful, serene. It's got the beautiful lake and mountains. So when I play this WC, I feel like it's perfect for this kind of environment, for the nature. And when you hear this, it makes me feel like I'm in a kind of like a fairy tale world, fairy tale land, and this should bring you some nice imaginations and bring you some very therapeutic kind of feelings to it.
so and also we had a really good piece. I'm just having him standing here. This other major work by Chopin, it's called Scherzo. You like that place? Okay. Chopin wrote 4 scherzos. This is the first scherzo, number 1. It's very dark. It's very dramatic. It's written around the year of 1831 when the uprising breaks out against Russia. So Chopin was in not Poland. He left Poland already. He was in France, and he never went back because his friends and family told him, "Don't go back. It's dangerous over there." And he missed his homeland. He missed his people and friends, and he wrote a lot of kind of revolutionary music during that time. And this is one of them. And the interesting thing about this piece is that it opens with these 2 dramatic chords, very dissonant, so you can kind of feel that's like something terrible is going to happen, the outbreak of something terrible. And then it goes into these passages are like really chaotic. And then after that first section, it repeats a couple times. It goes into this really beautiful, peaceful, and calm melody, which is a lullaby. Actually, it's meant to be a lullaby, so very peaceful and calm. And you'll recognize it when you get there. And then it interrupts by this powerful chords again. It's kind of like the dream was interrupted by reality, the darkness, the violence, or whatever. So, and anyway, so this music is very physically demanding, but it's really great to play because it makes you feel powerful and strong when you can really perform it. I hope you enjoy that. Chopin Nocturne, and this is a famous nocturne in E flat major. Everybody knows that. Every time, actually this nocturne I learned it when I was older too, because it was so famous. I never learned anything famous when I was younger, because I just felt everything was so popular and overly played. I didn't want to play them. But now I play the Chopin Nocturne. It's I made it very personal to me too. It just has a very intimate and poetic feeling to it. So I hope you folks would enjoy today's concert, and I hope I'll see you soon when things start to get back to normal. Thank you. See you later.
So I also wanted to talk to you about Ali,
Okay.
your rescue bird.
Yeah, my little
Yeah,
baby.
if you can tell us how this came about, your life with him.
Yeah. Okay. It's almost like an accident the way I found him, but I don't believe in accident. I believe in things happen for a reason, and it's meant to be. I just one day this was back home when I was living in Stanford, and I decided to take a walk. And normally I go swimming that time. But that Friday I just decided I don't feel like going swimming today. I'll go take a walk, and I walked outside. This was late May. I walked outside just a couple blocks away from my house, and there it is. I see this little thing standing right in front of my feet, and so close, like it's closer than you and I right now, like right over here. And this little thing, like all puffed up, like little fur ball,
like a fur ball.
and so cute, and not moving at all. And he was looking at me like the way, because we just all of a sudden I saw this, and he's looking at me, I'm looking at him, like time stands still. I remember that moment. I could never forget that, because in my head, so much things were going through my head. I was thinking, is this real? Is this somebody's toy? It's like some kids left their stuffed animal on the street. It was on the road, And I'm like, it looks so real, but it's not moving. And it's like all these thoughts are going through my head. It was so funny. And he's looking at me like he was just stunned, like froze, He looked at me, and he's never seen obviously I don't think he's ever seen another human before. It's probably
Maybe
just
he had just fallen out of the nest,
got
or-
out of the nest, either fall out or he flew out, but
Yeah.
but he just didn't move. And then I went closer, then he started to run away from me, but he couldn't run. He was tripping. He was, like he didn't have enough balance. He didn't have strong legs. I can tell he was young, just got out of the nest, and he was falling on his wings. He was like using the wings like a crutch. He was going left and right. I'm like, oh, poor thing. Then I started looking around, and I know the street. There's every time I walk past by that street, there's always cats, raccoons, lots of squirrels. And that specific time that I was there, no one, not a soul was there. Not a single soul. It was so silent. It felt like Twilight Zone. It felt like it's the funniest thing. So I said, I have to help him. If I don't, some predator will grab it. And I didn't see parents. I looked around, I didn't see the nest. I couldn't find nothing. Yeah. So so anyways, I went bent over and tried to pick him up, and he opened his beak like really wide. So he thinks I'm gonna feed, like he's like a baby,
Right.
So I'm like, he's hungry. So I brought him. I took him, and he was he's a beep beep beep. He's making this noise, and I quickly walked home, and I had a feeling it's a robin. Like it was just like intuition. I've never seen a baby robin because they look different. It's different print, the color.
Right.
For some reason, I just said, okay, it's a robin, but I'm gonna Google it. I Googled it, it's a robin, and it shows, they're about like 10, 13 days old, that, in that range, 10 to 14 days old, very young. So what they eat and stuff, so then I started feeding him and, going to the garden, digging worms for him, like all kind of things, giving him blueberries, just whatever food that I read that they should be taken, and and obviously parents, they're supposed to regurgitate for them. So what I would do is I'm like, I'm not gonna chew those. No, not for the worms.
I'm not gonna do that.
Right, I just give him the worms and he would eat them. But for like strawberries, blueberries, I would chew it. I chew it and I give it to
okay.
him.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
So that's why now
Yeah.
he gets into the habit. He's so funny. Every time I'm eating, he sees I'm putting food in my mouth. I'm chewing. He's looking at me. He's waiting for me to drop it for him. He's
Right.
waiting. He's so funny. Yeah. So that's how I came.
So you brought him home.
I brought him home, and he was the nicest, the sweetest personality ever, and he was so calm. It's like he was so comfortable with me, like day one, especially after I fed him. He just totally cuddles up with me. He follows me. Like he just, if he doesn't see me in the room, so I have to take him. Like I put him in a little box.
I would take him wherever room I'm gonna be in, like the kitchen, the bathroom, the living room, like anywhere, because he needs to see me. If he doesn't see me start crying, I could.
He knows we're talking
He's
about.
singing. Allie! Sometimes he answers me. Allie, are you singing?
He's kind of grooving.
He really is singing. He's
Yeah.
in a good
Oh,
mood
yeah,
right now.
yeah. So also, you discovered pretty early on that he enjoyed sitting and listening to you play piano.
Very musical bird.
Yeah,
Very.
yeah.
So now in the beginning, because he was very quiet. Quiet in a way that he wasn't really singing, but he was chatty.
Mm-hmm.
He would talk to me whenever I talked to him. Because when he was a baby, since this was my first pet ever, so I really treated it as my baby. It was my baby, you know. So I started talking to him, and every night when I put him to sleep, I sing for him. I sing Disney songs, you know, like any Disney song that comes to my mind, whatever song that I would sing him, and he would just fall asleep. He would just, he bump my hand. I sing him to sleep. I see him like closing his eyes. He's so comfortable. And then, you know, and then when I start practicing, I would put him next to the piano. And he was just fascinated. He loves it. He'll watch me play. He listens. Then one day when he got a little older, then I noticed he started singing himself, like quietly singing. And when I play, he sings. He loves the music. And a lot of times, if I play a piece, he'll sing from the beginning till the end, until the last chord. When the last chord is over, he stops.
Wow.
He stops. I'm like, how do you know this?
Yeah, and you had started videotaping him
Right.
with you while you were playing it, because that was one of the videos that we had.
Right,
as
that's
part of
when
our
he
series.
was. Yeah, that's when he was young.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that evening he just cuddled up on my shoulder, and when I was playing, he didn't leave. So I'm like, he must really enjoy this. So I
Right.
asked my father, my dad, to come and can you please, you know, do a video of us, because I want to keep this on my document. Because I started taking pictures and documents of him ever since he was on day one. For some reason, I just said to myself, I need to document this, because this is such like an experience that, you know, a lifetime experience.
Right,
And I
right.
couldn't find too much information about Pat Robbins, like, you know, from online, because there are not too many of those. I mean, there are
Yeah.
very few, not too many. So
Yeah.
I figure I'm
Wild
gonna.
animals.
Right, because I thought in the beginning I'm just gonna raise him until he's strong enough, then he can fly away. I just thought, you know, I'll let him go, like, because he was born in my neighborhood,
Right.
and I'll let him go. But he never left the whole summer. Well, first he had an injured wing, so it took a few weeks for him to heal, to get better. But after he get better, I would leave him always on the porch, like an open porch. There's no screen. There's, you know, so the open porch, and it's, you know, he can go to the garden, he can go to the trees, whatever. The whole day, every single day for a few months, he's on the porch. He never went anywhere. He would just sit on my window or on the chairs. We have chairs on the porch. He sits there, and I have his big cage, open door, open window. He can go in and out for food, whatever. And he would just be on the porch and look out. And he feels like this is his house. It's his home. He doesn't want to leave. And it's like his territory. And sometimes he'll venture out to explore the garden, because we live on this cul-de-sac. So he would just go around, and I would walk with him, because I don't want cats to catch him. When I see him going down the street, I go out and walk with him, because I know he wants to walk around. I walk with him. If a car comes, I, you know, get him over. And cars see him, they slow down. You know, they're like, "You walking your birds?" My neighbor will say, "You're walking your bird." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." I'm like, people walk their dogs. I walk my bird. That's the funniest thing. Yeah, and we got. And because of him, I mean, this has changed my life in so many good ways, But because of him, I met a reporter for the newspaper. Did I tell you that? I don't know if I
I
mentioned.
did see
The article?
story, the
Oh,
article,
you saw the article.
yes, yeah.
Okay, right. So I happened to meet.
It made Ali like a local celebrity down there.
Exactly. So
Thank you.
she wanted to interview us. So she,
Yeah.
you know, made an appointment, come to my house, and did the interview, and that photographer. you know, like took beautiful pictures, like nice, and Ali was just like posing for them. Like he was not afraid because you know he got really close with a big camera, and Ali was just like turning his head, looking at the camera, left and right, saying, "Yeah, I know, you know, like
get my good side.
get my
please.
good side. I'm beautiful, you know." It was so funny. So you know, we did the interview, and also like we had him. He was on my piano and sitting on my shoulder. I played, and so they did all the pictures. Because before that, he wants food. He's tapping on his food. Ali, do you mind take a minute? And
Yeah, no, that's fine.
feed him a couple.
Yep.
Ellie, come here. So when the article came out, right, it was a Friday morning. People started calling me, like my friends. They're like, "Do you know your picture and Ali is on the front page of the Stanford Advocate?" I'm like, "Really?" So I went to the store and got a couple of copies, and that was pretty neat. Like our pictures were on the front page with me and him on my hand, and then the title something about bird song or something like that, you know. And also the title was like about like how I rescue him and he takes me as his mother now, and then I brought the newspaper home. I put it on the table. And guess what Ali did? He jumped on it. He started reading it. He's looking, tapping on my picture, on our picture.
Oh, wow.
He's tapping on us, like he recognizes us. And I said to him, "Do you recognize this, you and me?" And and I have pictures of him on the newspaper reading. I took pictures of him.
Oh, neat.
He was reading, like he was looking at everything. He was so funny. A lot of people I know, my friends, they rescue little birds, and they don't live. Like you know, a lot of them they would die. But this bird, he had so many near-death experience too when I was with him, when he's with me. But I think it's meant to be that he's sent to me for a reason. And anyway, so after I talked to him, I said to him, you know, I haven't sang for him in a long time because I used to do that when he was a baby. And I decided, I'll sing you a couple of songs before you go to bed. So I started singing the princess, you know, the Disney princess songs, a couple of bedtime songs. And the same thing. He just stood there and just looked at me and listened, and he was just with such comfort, like he was so comfortable. It's so pleasant, like he really enjoyed it. I said to myself, he must really enjoy singing, like the music. And so after that, he still didn't want to go to bed yet. So then I said, I'll read you a bedtime story. So I took the book out, the little children's book, and he started looking at the pictures. But halfway through, he wanted to go to bed. Like
It's like putting your child to bed.
Right, halfway through, he's like, "Oh, I want to go to bed." He started hopping away. So then I put him to bed. So I know that like he could easily get tired of, you know, like I'm reading a story because there's no music. But with music, he doesn't get tired of it. Last night I was thinking about it. Like, you know, he was looking at me like he loved it. He just loved it.
Birds, especially, are very auditory.
They're probably
so
more
they-
musical because they like to sing.
Yes,
Because they're
exactly.
singing all
So
the time. They're
much more-
songbirds. Yeah.
They're much more attuned. to singing.
I didn't know that before. I had no idea before. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention, Mozart. Did I tell you about the story about that Mozart had a pet bird?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Okay, so I think this is a very important and interesting piece of information or story.
Yeah.
After I found Ali, somehow I read something about, someone told me about Mozart because, you know, they're like, "Oh, you have this musical bird. Did you know that Mozart had a pet starling? One of those black starling birds.
Okay,
You know,
yeah.
they're both the same size as robin, but they're black with shiny feathers,
Right.
and they're actually invasive species that
Right. Yes.
but they are the
I've heard
most
that.
intelligent birds. So Mozart he was in the market one day, and he heard this bird starting singing one of his symphonies or piano concerto, I forget, one of his composition, like maybe a few measures of it. And he loved it so much, he thought this was like the most interesting bird ever, so he bought the bird. He
Oh.
bought the bird from the market, and he loved that bird. That was his starting. He would write music, and the bird would sing back to him. Apparently, that starlings, they can mimic people. They can mimic anything, like speaking. That don't talk like parrots.
Yeah.
So they can sing, they can talk. So Mozart had his bird, and then when I don't know how long he had the bird for. I just knew that when the bird died, he was very, very sad. Like he was very attached to his, because this was his pet,
Mm-hmm.
and he had a funeral. He had held a funeral for the bird. So
Wow.
when I learned that, I was like,
Just
wow,
more than he got for himself, right?
Ex-
He
ex-
just-
exactly.
When he died, he was thrown into a pauper's grave. Yeah.
Exactly. So when I heard this story, and also I read more about it too, because I googled it, and there's more people writing about it, and I said, this is amazing. So when I found Alia, after I found Alia, I learned about the story. I said, well, Mozart had a pet bird that sings. Now I have Alia. It's because I used to think that people, it's the norm to have a cat or a dog. Birds are they're not like a common pet. They're more
Right.
exotic.
At least
you know.
wild birds.
Right, exactly. It's a wild bird, and starlings are wild birds too. So when I learned that Mozart had it, I was like, so this is not
It's just that direct connection
the
there.
connection, and
Yeah.
he loved Mozart. That's right. I remember the first time I played Mozart sonata for him. Oh, he sang away. He at first he was listening. The more I played for him, the more he started singing. He started singing
Right.
louder and louder and
Yeah.
louder. He got so excited.
It makes you wonder whether, because Mozart was writing music while he had
I had
his
a bird.
whether his music was being written
I
in a
don't,
way to
right.
get the response of that.
Right.
bird.
I don't know.
Yeah, right.
The exact connection. And
That
I
might
don't
be an
even-
interesting research subject.
I'm gonna find out how long he had the bird. I don't know if I can find that out, but I'm gonna do some more research about it. Yeah.
That's fascinating.
I know when I learned that, I was like, this is perfect. Now I have Ellie.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Nicole, for
You're welcome.
speaking with us, and thank you also for playing for us.
You're
It's just-
welcome. It's my
beautiful.
pleasure.
It's wonderful.
We want to again thank pianist Nicole Wang for sharing her wonderful talent with us and with all of you. You've been watching a special live stream brought to you by the Adirondack Lakes Center for the Arts. I'm George Cordes, Artistic Director, and if you'd like to see both our virtual and live programming continue, please consider making a donation to the Arts Center. Go to our website, adirondackarts.org, and click on the Donate button. While you're there, be sure to check out everything else we have going on, including our ALCA-Seltzer shorts, workshops, and virtual gallery exhibit. And be sure to watch for all of our live stream events coming up this summer. Thank you and have a great evening.